Yes, they caught him. So after a day or two of vigorous searching and apparently thousands of interviews with witnesses, the FBI located the guy who shot Charlie Kirk. I am guessing that everyone watching this video right now is more than familiar with who Charlie Kirk is and what happened to him only a few days ago. But for those of you who don't know, Charlie Kirk is a political influencer, I guess. So essentially his whole spiel was talking 90% common sense and 10% of some of the most retarded, brain-dead, mind-numbing poop in brain nonsense. His whole thing is that he would go to college campuses and argue with people who are about a year or two free from puberty about social issues. I don't know how he managed to do that for all of these years, but hey, that's how he earned his reputation. However, Charlie Kirk is no longer on this earth because one cornball, barely free from puberty, decided to snipe the fuck out of him. This seems to be a recurring thing in America apparently. I won't say that Charlie Kirk is up in the clouds with Harambe and Tupac sipping gin and juice, but he is dead, and I genuinely feel horrible for his wife and kids who no longer have a father because their father said words that people disagreed with. This event is obviously recorded, which is even more sad for his children because their father, having his neck blown out, is now immortalized, and that makes things even worse. Watching this video is pretty bad. Like, I covered the Roger Jackson incident a while back, and that was pretty brutal stuff. This compared to that is definitely worse. You literally see this guy's neck get blown out and him dying what looks to be instantly, and then him literally using blood sorcery, fam, because I have never seen that much blood come out of someone so quickly. Right here is the scumbag who fired the trigger. His name is Tyler Robinson and he is 22 years old. And he is a perfect example of exactly what is wrong with a lot of things surrounding politics in America. According to this guy's family, young Tyler was not invested in politics at all until recently, which is not surprising at all. With the way that America has been going for the last few years, naturally politics as a whole has become a more prominent talking point amongst everyone, especially young people, because for those of you who don't know, and I don't want to sound like a boomer here, but young people are stupid, yet they think that they know everything. So politics is an extremely popular topic with young people nowadays, because if there is no set way that shows exactly how to run a country or a place in the most harmonious and beneficial way possible, everyone is going to think that they're right. So it's very easy to trigger people within this topic, which is exactly what Charlie Kirk used to do to millions of people who watched him. It also doesn't help that social media constantly pushes controversial figures like a Charlie Kirk constantly. So it really doesn't take too much for a young person to fall down the politics rabbit hole, which is what I'm really trying to say. And boy, this guy fell down the rabbit hole hard, because in recent years, not only did he become super invested in politics, he also became a fucking loser. Police found some of the cases of the bullets that this guy used to take Charlie Kirk's life, and they found engravings on them. And they are genuinely some of the cringiest things I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, these are so bad, it's literal confirmation that this guy was a chronically online degen weirdo, bro. Notices bulge. Oh, ooh, what's this? Do you know how cringe this is? Not only was this guy enough of a degen to know this meme, but this guy actively wiped the Cheeto dust from his mouth and shirt, put on a dirty pair of pants that he found under his cum socks, moved his lolly body pillow out of the way before stacking his pockets with beef jerky and having ChatGPT wish him a good day before leaving the house, driving his parents' car to go to the gun shop, looked the clerk dead in the eye as he requests to have notices bulge ooh, what's this engraved into a bullet. No joke, if I was the guy running this store, I would have called the police, bro. The writing was on the wall. This is the most school threat ass shit I have ever seen. He should have been on a list before he shot Charlie Kirk. As soon as he bought these bullets, he should have been put on the will mass murder 5 women list. Literally right that second. Hey fascist catch. Absolutely hilarious. This is literally something I would expect to hear from a 5'4" chick with green hair, a nose ring, and sweat patches under her armpits. Truly peak lefty humor right here. Apparently the arrows were a Helldiver reference, so I guess that this guy at the very least was 99% gorilla. He did have at least a speck of human brain residing within his cranium to enjoy a good game. I honestly expected this guy to be a Sims player with a fucking virtual Charlie Kirk that he sets on fire every day. Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao is some anti-fascist song, so it's plainly obvious that this guy was radicalized at some point. This is like the very end of the spectrum when it comes to the dangers of like the internet and stuff. It's pretty common knowledge that there is a lot of losers in this generation. A lot of that isn't even really their fault. It's just that the world kind of sucks right now. So people move more and more online because it's like a cool escape from reality. But you know, the more time that you spend online, the more time you have to consume the bad things on the internet, which can fuck up your mental health. Like this idiot. A lot of discussion has been had about what his political allegiance is, because politics is essentially Republican liberal. What are you? Apparently, it's been extremely popular for Republicans to blame liberals for literally everything. So the libs are looking for any opportunity to point the finger back, exactly like what happened with the Trump shooting. A lot of politics is literal finger pointing. To me personally, who I think I am a human with a fully functioning non-gorilla brain, I think it's fairly safe to say that this guy is probably left-leaning. Absolute shocker right there, right guys? But I guess it is worth mentioning before the purple-haired sludges come out of their sewage holes, that this guy was raised in a Republican household, which is why I think a lot of people are going around saying, oh yeah, he's a Republican. Nobody knows what this guy is. But, you know, he dislikes Charlie Kirk, so I think it's a safe assumption to say he's not entirely on board with his parents' ideals. But hey, give me a tinfoil hat if I need one. Or a bolt action rifle. Since starting the script for this video, some more rumors have come out about this guy. Of course, what I'm about to tell you I don't know is 100% true, but there is one thing that is a fact, and I will point that out in a second. Basically, this Tyler dude, like most people, spent way too much time online during COVID because he couldn't go outside. So he stumbled onto some type of LGBTQ Discord server or something, and he spent a lot of time in there, and eventually this guy picked up a trans GF. This is a fact. So people here are kind of putting two and two together now, you know. I'm not going to say too much on it. You guys probably know where I'm going with this, right? The whole situation is honestly just sad. It really goes to show how far people will go to silence someone's opinions. Like, I am fully aware of the things that Charlie Kirk has said in his career. I know what he has said about his daughter. I am half black. I know what he has said about black people. That also affects me to a degree. I know what he said, but the key thing is said. He used words. As far as I know, the man has never incited literal violence. If one person decided to watch a Charlie Kirk video about how trans people are mentally ill and decided to beat up a trans person, that is because of the individual person's own deep-rooted hatred that was already there. Nothing to do with this guy. I do not care what you guys say. In fact, all you people do is prove his point when you are trying to shut people up with force. The people who are actively celebrating this man's death, you were exactly what he called you, and you're too dumb to even realize that. I am by no means telling people to weep and mourn for Charlie Kirk. I think he was an absolute cornball. Me telling a black person to mourn the death of a guy who had nothing good to say about any black person would be absolutely retarded. I would deserve to get shot for straight stupidity, but celebrating a man's death who has merely used his voice is weirdo activity, especially coming from the people who are always preaching empathy and being kind and considerate to people's feelings. Complete phonies, literal modern day skinwalkers. I kind of went on a tangent there, but the big thing about all of this is that a lot of people think that this entire event was planned. Charlie Kirk, only a day before this happened, was shit talking a certain country. I won't mention what country, I'm sure you can guess though. Before he was shot, this dude was making a whole bunch of hand gestures behind Charlie Kirk that people interpreted as some type of signal, potentially for a shooter. And also the fact that this guy who shot the gun changed his clothes about 3 different times leading up to and prior to the shooting. He had a planned getaway, and he did get away. But in the end of the day, this guy got caught. However, FBI, do not go taking credit for this one. No. This man got caught because his father found out and turned him in instantly. And you know what? W dad. Bro said, "You will not take us down with you, son."
Fuck you, you like it up the ass.
In all seriousness though, this was the correct thing to do if he cared about his son in any way. If the FBI got their hands on this kid, he's probably getting packed up. He would have probably ended up shot. And of course, if the father knew the crime his son had done and helped to hide him, their whole family goes down. So there isn't much else that this guy could have done in this situation, to be honest. Me personally, I think that this was 100% organized. I don't know about all the extra stuff, but this guy had a plan. Also, at the same time, how easy is it for a dude to get onto a college campus with a rifle? Like, what is this country doing for real? Where is the security, metal detectors, CCTV, anything? Imagine if this guy did not care about Charlie Kirk. This guy could have pulled up and shot everyone. What is this country doing? Like, to me, this isn't even a gun control thing. Like, this is, where were you seriously? You seriously cannot see if a guy is climbing onto a roof. Why is it so easy to access said roof? Like, what is going on? After doing about 5 seconds of research, apparently this building wasn't part of the campus that they were on, I think, but it's still kind of crazy how in 2025 we're still having events like this in places where surrounding buildings can't be secured properly. That's just my opinion though. This whole situation is just sad for everyone, for Charlie Kirk and his family, for this dude's family. Like, you can even feel bad for Tyler Robinson to a degree. This guy was a dude who literally just took the wrong path and did something insane. Like, imagine if this guy just didn't install Discord, bro. You know, the only people who have benefited from this whole thing are people with ravaging mental illnesses. So yeah, I think that's about it, guys. I don't really have much else to say. If you liked the video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, guys.